Hey guys, today I want to talk about the best cameras of 2022. Despite how oversaturated the market is, we were able to shortlist really nice models. Watch this video till the end to find out what model will suit your needs. We'll be tackling both beginner level cameras and models for pros. That means that you definitely be able to find the best equipment for you, instead of paying for something mediocre. Make sure to like this video and let's jump right in. If you are only planning to make your first steps as a photographer, the Nikon Z3500 is the perfect choice for you. This is a mirror camera that is the go-to equipment for beginners. It has a 24 megapixel crop sensor with a 1.5 factor. Should you happen to mount a full frame lens or an old Helios 44 to 58 mm lens onto this camera, then you will have to increase the focus distance by 1.5, which will turn 58 mm into 87 mm, and that will increase the shooting time as well. There is no reason to worry about it, since all the beginner level cameras have this limitation. Moreover, not all pro cameras are full frame. The image sensor's sensitivity isn't something to write home about, but still 100 to 3200 ISO units are enough for a newbie. The ISO can be cranked up to 25,000, which is something. The camera has a 5 frames per second burst mode, which is also fine for a beginner. This model shoots both in JPEG and RAW, and its battery life is good enough for 1550 frames. And since it's 2022, you definitely want your camera to shoot videos as well, right? Video recording in Nikon D3500 is more of a nice side feature. It can record video, but only 1080p resolution with a 50-60 frame rate. Sure, it's a decent feature, but 4K video recording would have been so much better. But anyhow, this camera usually comes with a standard or keyed 18-55mm lens with a variable 3.5 to 5.6 aperture. A lens like this is recording me right now, and I think this is a good lens despite its low price. Sure, you can buy additional lenses for your Nikon D3500, but be prepared to post-process your images. But post-processing isn't something unheard of, since nowadays every photographer edits their pictures. And one of the best tools for it is PhotoWorks, an easy but feature-rich editor. Once you install PhotoWorks, you'll be good to go, no tutorials necessary. The photo editor has a clear interface and wisely placed tools which will please both newbies and pros. Need to straighten the horizon, crop your photos, correct the color balance, or add a bit of an artistic touch? You got it. The software offers HSL sliders, the curves, and a host of image-enhancing presets. If you plan an extensive photo shoot, PhotoWorks will certainly come in handy. After all, it has a batch processing feature that allows you to enhance multiple pictures at once. Right now, you can order PhotoWorks at an awesome discount if you follow the link in the description. Before you actually order, you can try the photo editor completely free of charge, so give PhotoWorks a go to see it for yourself. Meanwhile, we go back to the best cameras of 2022. Since we've already tackled Nikon, we need to mention Canon. The top best-selling mirror camera right now is Canon 2000D. This is a beginner-level camera. It has an optical viewfinder and 3-inch screen that can be flipped and has no sensor control. There is the CMOS sensor with 100 to 12,000 ISO. The camera has slots for mini HDMI, mini USB, USB 2 and flash. It supports Wi-Fi connection. Overall, this is a very standard entry-level tool, similar to Canon 600D and 700D and etc. There are no extraordinary pro features, which is fitting. Just like any 2022 camera, this Canon model records videos in 1080p with 30 frames per second. You have the option to buy this camera as body only or with a standard keyed 80-55mm lens, exactly like with the Nikon. Thankfully, you can mount tons of lenses onto your Canon to experiment with the shooting mode. So if you are really adamant about buying a camera, Canon 2000D is a great choice. But it's high time we talked about something pro level. Now let's talk about a mirrorless camera from Fujifilm, namely XT4. This is the first model of the XT series that is equipped with the in-body image stabilization system. This system provides a 5-axis and 6.5 stop image stabilization. The camera has a 25 megapixel crop sensor with a 1.5 factor and 2 memory stick slots. And since the camera is mirrorless, the viewfinder is digital. If you plan to switch to this model after mirror-based Nikon or Canon, it might take a while to get used to. The model has a hybrid autofocus with 425 focus points. There is the 30 frames per second burst mode. This way you'll never miss a once-in-a-lifetime shot. The camera is able to record 4K videos with a 60 frame rate, and if you go with an HD quality, the rate can go as high as 240 frames per second. The camera has Wi-Fi, USB, Bluetooth, HDMI, a microphone slot and a remote control slot. All in all, this is a great mirrorless camera that will excel both at image shooting and video recording. As for downsides, there is at least one, a less than ergonomic grip. Admittedly, Nikon and Canon models are a lot more convenient to hold, but it's all a matter of taste. So before you order the camera, make sure to go to some retail store to have a chance to physically hold the model in your hand. Then you'll know for sure. Canon EOS RP is the smallest and lightest full-frame and body-only camera, at least according to its manufacturer. The camera is compatible with RF mount lenses. Besides, the model comes with 3 adapters that make it possible to mount lenses of EF and EFS series. The camera has a 26.2 megapixel CMOS sensor, a Digicade image processor, and a dual-pixel CMOS autofocus system. The ISO sensitivity is 100 to 40,000. This model records 4K videos with a 25 frame rate and Full HD video with a 60 frame rate. There is the 5 frames per second burst mode that changes to 4 frames per second if you use AFC. Sadly, there is no built-in stabilizer. This camera has a digital viewfinder equipped with a screen with a 2.36 million points resolution and 0.7 magnification and 3-inch flip screen. There is also an SD stick slot, HDMI, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and external mic slot and earphone output slot. Here's my opinion on the camera. Canon was able to create a nice mirrorless model which is fine for both photo and video. And since we are begun our roundup with a Nikon camera, it's only fitting that we end with one. Nikon D850 has been crowned the best DSLR camera of 2021, which means it is definitely worthy of your attention if you have already advanced into photography. The sensor's 47 megapixels and a wide dynamic range allow for some impressive shots. The burst mode is 7 frames per second. The camera weighs slightly over 2 pounds, or a bit shy of 1 kilogram, and it is somewhat large, so it isn't exactly portable. I don't know how about you, but I have a feeling that the smaller and lighter the camera is, the higher the chances that it will be my go-to choice. To be honest, I'm not so fond of taking my Canon with me on trips. It's somewhat sizable. This Nikon has Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, a mic slot, and an earphone slot, so that you could monitor the sound you are recording, which means that this camera is also good for video recording. It supports 4K recording. Unlike its predecessor Nikon D850, this model has a 3.2-inch flip screen and a touch screen that allows you to adjust the setting of your camera without hitting tons of buttons. Well, it's 2022 and a touch screen is not novelty, so let's just think of it as a nice bonus. Another difference is the absence of a built-in flash, but judging by my experience, such a flash is an unnecessary accessory, especially for a pro-level camera. It's a lot more reasonable able to use external impulse light sources and studio lights. Sure, the market is overflowing with the high-quality cameras. The likes of Sony A7S or 7R, Panasonic GH4 or 5 are certainly the most popular of them. Instead of going the conventional road, we have opted to shortlisting really interesting and reliable models rather than popular ones. Do you agree with our choices? What cameras do you use? Please let us know in the comments. It's goodbye for now, hope to see you next time.